Okay, so here's another video in the many-part series on learning to trade, right? So today what we are going to be discussing is candlesticks. Now, what is a candlestick? A candlestick is generally the things you're looking at on the screen, right? The bars that you don't understand how to use. Now, obviously, that is very vague, right? So we'll get into how to actually use candlesticks and stuff. But it's very simple. I don't want you to read into it too much. I don't want you to overthink what they are and how to use them. They are very simple, and they are going to show you the very key concepts or the very few things that you would need to understand about using candlesticks, right? Without putting all the fluff and all the bush just to make it sound fancy or to make me sound smart, right? So particularly what you're looking at, right, as a with a candlestick is the visual representation of the price of something. So if you see this dotted line here that is attached to this moving number, what that would suggest to tell us is the current price of the thing, right? So right now, at the time of making this video, right, 1 troy ounce of gold would be 4,000 US dollars, right? If you go to Bitcoin, what the current price would show is 111,332 US dollars for 1 Bitcoin, right? So the things that we need to understand and know about candlesticks as one, the body of the candlestick and the wicks of the candlestick. We don't need to know every single thing about the opening or closing price, right? So if you look at a lot of YouTube videos, they will tell about the opening price, the closing price, stuff like that, but generally we won't use those things, right? Now, the three main components of understanding candles. So to you, these candles may be red and green, right? To me, is a kind of pink and black. I change the color for psychology. As we get more into trading, you would understand why I actually did this. And but all we need to understand is the three most important concepts or components of the candle. So let's use this one here for example, right? Which will be a green one, right? Which is black for me. We have the body of the candle, which is the solid part of it, and we have the two wicks. The two wicks are the little lines on top and the bottom of the candles. That is generally all we are going to be using out of the candles realistically, right? Now, what are they? The body of the candle suggests volume. So the bigger the candle, the more persons trading in that particular direction. The volume of the candle is what the size of the candle usually represents. Now, that is also nuanced, but for the sake of the beginning of this video, just to understand what it is, the size means that it have more volume or more persons trading in that particular direction. The wicks, tails, or shadows, as some people call them, we call them wicks, is a visual representation of where the price does not want to go. So at one point, this would have been a big red candle where the price would have been down here. The market, the person trading does not, or they believe that it's a good place to buy the gold from, so they would have purchased at this point and they would have sent the price back up. So this line here is a representation of where the price does not want to go. So what wick suggests is where the market would go only in the opposite direction, right? Now, the candlesticks are used in conjunction with something called support and resistance, which we will cover in another video. So support and resistance is pretty much areas of interest that persons like to buy from. So when in trading, all we are trying to do is buy certain assets at good prices, right? So for instance here, we would see that in this support area, the market would have went down to this price, and then it would have been rejected and go back up. So rejection is what we call the wicks on the candles, right? So the more wicks you see in a particular direction or on a particular side of the candle, we call that rejection. The more rejection, the better it is, or the more likely it is for the market to go in the opposite direction, right? So in this case here, a lot of wicks, which suggests that the market is fighting to go up in this direction. A lot of wicks on top here, which suggests that the market is fighting to go in this direction, right? So we've seen wicks on top, but what that suggests is that the market wants to sell, which it inevitably did, right? So that is how it is you're going to be understanding or looking at candles. Pretty simple, nothing too fancy, right? The other thing that you need to understand or know about candles is what we call doji candles. This is the next most important candle. Doji candles are candles that represent or look like small bodies like this and equal wicks on the top and the bottom. What these candles suggest or represent is indecision. Indecision meaning that the market does not know where it wants to go. So usually you want to see doji candles, we don't trade. These candles are usually goes flat across. So the market moves in three ways. It moves up in one direction like this. It moves down in another direction like this. And then from time to time, it moves sideways like this. It goes directly across. And we get a lot of doji candles in here. Small bodied with wicks of equal lengths or proportion on either side. By understanding what a doji candle is, you would know one where it forms to be able to make a decision, which is support and resistance, which we'll get into, and it also shows you indecision in the market, so it also gives an indication to not trade. So all we're looking at is engulfing candles, which are big green candles and big red candles. A bullish engulfing candle is a big green candle that goes up, and a bearish engulfing candle is a big red candle that goes down. Right? So understanding engulfing candles and where they form, doji candles and where they form, is the basis of your trading strategy essentially. So trading is not hard, the candles aren't hard, all it is a visual representation of what the price of something is doing currently. So by understanding these key components, you can look at any price chart and be able to make a determination as to what most likely to happen. Now with trading, there's no way that we could predict what would happen. All we do is anticipate what might happen and use data to be able to back up our biases, right? So for instance here, this long wick would suggest that the market was down here and it no longer wants to go in this direction. The chances that we might be able to get a buy off of this candle here, right? So that's essentially understanding candlesticks and what they are in the most simplified form for anybody to begin with, or for anybody who don't know, or for anybody who just trying to get into trading. As you advance, once you have these key principles, you will be able to compound on them and add more data as the opening price, closing price, stuff like that. But generally, this is all you would need to know about understanding what a candle is, because this is what you're going to use to apply to your trading for the most part, especially when you're now starting to get ahead as quickly as possible, right? So thanks for looking at the videos, and I will see you in the other one.